Here's a realistic science-backed morning routine you can try. It's called the 30-30-30. 30 grams of protein within 30 minutes of waking, followed by 30 minutes of low-intensity exercise. It was originally discovered by Tim Ferriss in the book The 4-Hour Body, who wrote this basically like a biohacking Bible. I've been doing this for years now, and it's the simplest morning routine I've found to be able to optimize my focus and my fitness. There's a few nuances to this routine if you want to try it, but just to give you an example of the effects of it. In the book, Tim Ferriss, he had his dad try out the routine, and he was able to triple his fat loss by more than 3 times just by following. There was also another study where they followed 3,500 people that followed this routine, and they found that 86% of them were able to increase their levels of fat loss. Although this was a routine that was originally designed for fat loss, when I tried it out for myself, I found that depending on the protein source and exercise type, I unlocked a hidden benefit, and that was increasing my focus. And so if you're thinking of trying this, you definitely want to avoid the 2 biggest mistakes I made that pretty much just removes all the benefits of this routine. The first is answering what type of protein is the best to ingest, and the second is what type of exercise is the best to do in the morning. But first, what happens when you get 30 minutes of protein within 30 minutes of waking? So there's 2 main benefits to ingesting 30 grams of protein within 30 minutes of waking. The first is that protein before workouts can increase your caloric burn and recovery for the next 24 hours. Having a high protein breakfast can reduce your appetite for the day, which can cause you to eat lower amounts of protein overall. In my experience, it not only helps with fat loss, but it also helps with increasing my focus. So I've been wearing a continuous glucose monitor on my arm for about a month now. And if you don't know what that is, it's basically a computer that you attach to your body. Whenever you eat any piece of food, you can see how your body is responding to it and whether or not you have a glucose spike. The idea is that it's healthier to not have a lot of glucose spikes and to have your glucose remain steady. But the effect that it has on your focus is that high glucose spikes cause a crash, which leaves you feeling tired and unable to focus. So I've tested this out with a bunch of different types of breakfast, and I found that having a high protein breakfast doesn't have any impact on my glucose and helps me continue staying focused after waking up. It definitely does delay when you feel hungry for your first actual meal of the day, so you can get some hours of focus before it's actually time to eat a big meal. Because I mean, who can actually focus when they're hungry? There's also research that shows now if you have high protein early in the day, it can help your brain control reward centers. They basically scanned the brains of a lot of people that had a high protein breakfast and people who had a high carbohydrate breakfast, and found that the executive decision-making part of the brain was more stimulated when they had a high protein breakfast. There's a higher chance that if you just have a high protein breakfast of 30 grams of protein, it will help you make better decisions on your health and also at your work. The study also found that 30 grams of protein was the ideal amount to curb food cravings and achieve fullness. One mistake that I made was that even if you just ingest 30 grams of protein, not all protein is equal. Although the easiest way to get 30 grams of protein is to get it from a protein shake, according to the same study from the University of Missouri, the best way to actually get that protein in the morning is to get it from real foods like from eggs or chicken. It found that consumption of protein from a liquid source could have a similar effect to having a high carbohydrate breakfast, which pretty much just eliminates the benefit of having protein early in the first place. I think that the reason for this is actually because a lot of people drink their protein shakes with added sugars, like whether that's like fruits or just other types of sweeteners. Personally, when I tested out drinking a protein shake with my continuous glucose monitor, I didn't notice any glucose spike and definitely was still able to feel full and able to focus throughout the day. So if you also drink a protein, just make sure that there's no added sugars because that can negatively impact your body's response to it. Depending on your height and weight, it's worth testing to see what is the ideal amount for you. But I just think 30 and 30 is like an easy way to remember this routine. I don't think there's anything magical about 30 grams of protein versus 20 grams or 40 grams. But I think it's just an easy way to remember 30 and 30. So after the 30 grams of protein, the next part is to go for 30 minutes of low intensity exercise. Personally, I've found that it's best that I don't go for my main workout at this point because actually working out can leave me feeling tired and wanting to relax, whereas my goal is to start my day feeling focused. And so for the longest time, I made the mistake of doing my full workout first thing in the morning. Usually it would take more than 30 minutes just to go to and from the gym, and it would take me some more time to actually recover and be ready to get to work. But that obviously depends on the intensity of your exercise. The problem that I had was I wanted to find a workout that was low intensity enough that got my blood flowing, but doesn't actually tire me out and take me more time to recover from. And the solution that I found is probably the simplest thing that you can think of, which is to go for a 30-minute brisk walk outside. After following the Andrew Huberman routine for quite a while now, I found that consistently getting sunlight first thing in the morning to be super helpful in terms of regulating my circadian rhythm and feeling focused right after. Not only does sunlight help you get vitamin D and has been proven to boost your mood, walking itself has also been linked with improved cognitive function, memory, and concentration, partially because of an increased supply of blood to the brain. But lately, what I've been doing is to go for a walk without listening to podcasts or music. So I don't bring my phone at all or check it until well after this morning routine. It doesn't even take that long. It only takes like 30 minutes. Depending on how I feel sometimes, I'll go for a jog. But I intentionally don't try to increase the intensity because my goal is not to get a super good workout. It's just to get my blood flowing and get the benefits of a slightly elevated heart rate and sunlight. But in the times that I can't get my morning sunlight, either because I'm waking up way too early or the sun's not up yet, I have a daylight therapy lamp that works pretty well. I have this daylight simulator, and so I can get the benefits from there, and I'll just do some simple exercises like pull-ups or push-ups in my room. Yeah, even though this routine sounds very simple, and it is very simple, one problem that you might encounter is actually preparing 30 grams of protein in the morning. At least I had this problem. But I basically found two easy solutions. One is to get these pre-packaged protein shakes, so you don't actually have to spend time making them or even cleaning your bottle. This is just the one I have locally and what I use. But another solution I found is that in my local supermarket, they sell like these pre-packaged, almost like boxes of chicken breasts that also has like 30 grams of protein. So sometimes I'll use that instead. But yeah, it's worth trying them out and figuring out what works for you. The key thing I've learned is that with any routine or habit, you want to create systems so that it's as low friction as possible and as autopilot as possible. Another mistake I made in the past was having too many things going on in my morning routine. And the solution to that is something called habit stacking, which is to only add on more things to your morning routine after the things before have become completely autopilot and unconscious. The more things that you add on that are difficult to do, like journaling for 30 minutes or meditating for 30 minutes, the less likely that you're gonna do them overall. And so for me, this one thing of getting protein and going for a walk was the simplest thing that I started off with. And really, I haven't had to add too much more to my morning routine since. If you're looking for a simple morning routine that you can actually try and stick to, I highly recommend trying this. Yeah, unless you don't like protein. But in summary, here's what it looks like in practice. I wake up, I get 30 grams of protein, I walk 15 minutes away from my home, and then 15 minutes back. The entire thing takes about 30 to 35 minutes, and then I'm done. 30 grams of protein within 30 minutes waking, followed by 30 minutes of low intensity exercise outside. I found that it makes it easy for me to hit my protein targets for the day, like 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. And even when I travel, this is one of the easiest things that I can stick to. On this channel, you'll probably see a few more morning routines that I want to test. I just wanted to share this simple routine that I've been doing for the longest time, and I'll probably continue to keep doing. The more consistent you can be with this, the more your body can anticipate these patterns, and the more autopilot you can become in your morning routine. That is what will help you consistently jump back into the flow state every day. But I will say that sometimes even when I do this, I just need an extra boost. Maybe because I didn't sleep enough that night, or for some reason, everything just has a little bit more friction. But during those times, I found 5 biohacking habits that I do that can help reset how I feel completely and really help me get into that peak state of flow. It only takes about 5 minutes per habit, and I just do any one of them depending on my mood. So if you want to check that out, you can watch that in this video here. I'll see you over there. Peace out.